Hey everyone, let me get set up. Gonna check some things out. Stand by while I get everything set up. My name's David, and you tuned in to the Plant Bar live show. Just 1 second. Okay, everything's here. Everything's here. Everything's here. All right, yeah, we're situated. We'll take a few minutes. I'll clean up my workspace. While if you're watching this back, just be a couple minutes. Wait for some people to jump on, get things going here. Hope your day is going okay. I do realize that right now live is, if you're in America, there is a live broadcast of the president speaking to Congress. But I wanted to make sure we stayed consistent. And last week we missed. We weren't able to do the live show, and the power went out, and it got a little chaotic and wasn't going to come back on for a little while. Couldn't do the show really well. It'd have been real jumpy and stuff. So we just said we'll have to go next week. And right now, I'm David with the Plant Bar, and usually I've got Crystal with me, but as you can see, it's just me. Crystal left last Wednesday night for a Europe trip for her birthday with a bunch of her friends. So they're having a bunch of fun gallivanting around Europe. So I'm left here to try to hold down the fort and screwing stuff up here and there. But I am going to make sure that I continue filming the plant chores and things like that. So for today, first thing I wanted to do is I got this. I needed to pick up. Actually, I went to a private grower. I needed a what did I need? This is what happens when you get it. You go somewhere and you haven't been for a while, and you see stuff. So I needed a. I ran out of Spathiphyllum domino, which is it's like a variegated peace lily, and sold my last one, and the mother plant is still not big enough, so I wanted to get another one. So I found one at a private grower, and I went over there, and while I was there, they were tempting me with all kinds of stuff, but they did have this. This is a crested euphorbia. It's like a coral cactus, they call it. But as you can see, there's a couple left on here. So sometimes these cactuses revert, and sorry, just got done with work and I'm trying to switch gears here. So sometimes these guys revert and they shoot up. They usually look like this, right? A normal euphorbia is an upright grower, but there is a deformed one like this one that can grow, and these look much cooler. But what we want to do is cut off these reverterations, these reverted spots. And what I'm going to do is I've already cut off some. You can see, I don't know if you can see the callus on the bottom. So when you're working with cactus and other low water plants that store the water in the plant, you want to let it callus over before you replant it. So it usually only takes a couple days in a good shady spot or some bright shade under cover. Never don't put it out in the full sun because it's going to burn on one side and then you got this ugly looking plant. And then it'll callus over. I had these for last Tuesday. I was going to do it. So this has been sitting since last Tuesday. So it's well calloused now. The other thing I should mention with the euphorbias, any of this family of plants, they, when cut or opened up, there's going to be this white sap. The white milky sap can be toxic, so you definitely should wash your hands after handling, or if you're super sensitive to those sorts of things, then you should be handling them with gloves. Never, ever, ever, ever eat the white sap. I mean, that's obvious, but don't. The reason this one's showing some signs of the sap is because it was over here and I moved it over here and it poked itself. So I've got a few that I'd cut off last week from this guy, and I want to remain this crested look, so I'm going to cut these off too. So all you do is, have a decent pair of pruning shears, scissors, whatever you got. Make sure that they are, if you've been cutting other things, make sure that they have been treated so you're not transferring over problems from one plant to another, like fungus or some sort of other problems. And then, so I'm trying to, I guess you can kind of see. So what's going to happen though is on this cut, there's going to be a callus here. So it is what it is, because we want it to only have, looks better with only the coral part. So I'm going to cut that just at a slight angle, and then I'll set that aside. That one we'll let that callus over. And you can see here, this is going to drip this white sap, and then this will callus over as well. And then let me get this one too. And this one I'm going to cut at a little more of an angle, just to try to keep the look of this cactus going. Now, if I wanted to split this guy up and further make, because these already have this crested part about them, I could cut into this, but I'm not ready to do that just yet with this one. I'm going to let it grow up a little bigger before I start pulling and propagating these crested pieces. So I will say, just make sure, this white areas, try not to handle it too much. If you have it on something, it's obviously dripping, make sure you have it in a space that's not going to drip and stain on, I don't know, your carpet or something. Sorry, hi, it's just me, so I gotta come over here to the comments. Oh, Aubrey, thanks for asking. I guess I finally got to it. Yeah, if you're just new to our channel, we usually do tutorials. The Tuesday lives are a lot of my plant chores, a lot of things that we already are doing. We just kind of do it in front of the camera live. Usually it's me and Crystal, and we go through and propagate different things that we have for our private collection, and then other things that we're actively selling and getting ready for different things. And we also do different arrangements and craft type things with plants. So that's what we do generally. So for this crested plant here, I'm going to let it sit. I don't want to do anything left with it. Going to take I don't know, maybe I'll have to bring this back out in 3, 4, 5 months, see how the cuts have done, and then see. I want this to be about twice as big as it is now before I start cutting in. So I won't be showing you guys that, but I will be cutting these. I got these cuttings that I made previously that I've already calloused over, and I'm going to plant these. The other thing you can do, sometimes you got to be careful though. is, let's say I made this cutting and I don't have a lot of time and it's not calloused over. So ideally you should always let the cactus and plants that store water in the leaves callus over. But if you don't want to and you want to risk it, that's not a problem. But it could be. Just know, sometimes there's going to be some rot if it gets planted, because it obviously has to be in the soil, and it risks rotting out. You really want to use a real porous, aerated soil mix. I'm going to show how to mix some here for these plants. And like I said, if you really want to do it right, you should let the cactus callus over before you plant. So I will not be planting these this time, but I do have these three that I'll be planting now. And so I'm going to mix up some soil for the cactus, and what we'll let's see. What we'll be using is a normal potting mix. I usually like an organic type. That's pretty well balanced. This potting mix is organic. It does have so it's made from peat moss and compost, perlite, has activated charcoal in it. There's some cocoa chunks, right? And then worm castings. I'm trying to think what else. I think that's it for this one. So it's pretty simple, but it's an organic base blend, we call it. So with these plants, we want this to not hold too much water. So I'm going to add some sand, and then I'm also going to add some extra perlite to this mix. So the sand's down here. So we just use coarse sand for a lot of our cactus. You don't want it to be too fine. You want it to have some grit to it. So a coarse sand is usually best. That should do good. This blend's already pretty loose. So a lot of times you can do the check, and you want this to fall apart in your hand. If it clumps up, it's going to be for regular houseplants, that's fine. But for cactus and succulents, you want it to be more like this, right? So you do a hand test. If it falls apart, there's hardly any clumps, then it's good to go. And then I also want to add some more perlite to this. Oh. So if you don't know already, perlite's this is this white stuff. You can buy it at most hardware stores. This is a chunky mix here, and perlite actually comes from lava. It's a byproduct of lava. Okay, well, not the actual lava, but there's like these gases and things that go up in the air, and this is the byproduct of that. But it's natural, and it helps the water not stay by the roots. All right, so we got that. That's nice and loose, perfect for this. We're going to be planting the two smaller ones in a 4-inch pot, and then the bigger one in a 6. Or if it doesn't work, then I might put them all in 6s. We'll see once I get them out here. So let me grab 2 4-inch pots. All right, let me get a drink of water here. So we got our soil, we got our cuttings. Next part, I'm just going to make sure these fit before I do it. So I'm wondering, this one for sure can fit in here. Yeah. Maybe I'll do 6s for these other 2. And if you're getting into collecting plants, it's a good idea not to throw away your pots. If they're not like dry rotted and cracked, save them, put them in a organized, clean place if you can, and that way you can always reuse them. So I don't know what these were before. Oh, begonias. So they were begonias, now they're going to be these euphorbia, crested euphorbias. Oh yeah, so we go live every Tuesday. So every Tuesday right around this time we do go live. Other than that, we post videos throughout the week, usually 2 or 3 on average, on different things. So feel free to check out. This is for Aubrey, she was asking. Feel free to check out our other videos, and then if you have time on a Tuesday around this time, this is when the live show happens. So thanks for coming and hanging for a little bit. You can always watch the rest of this back if you can't watch any more today. So I'm going to fill this up halfway with soil, and then I'll fill it the rest of the way. So these are pretty simple. This is a cutting. The biggest thing is to make sure it's been allowed to callus over, and then I'm gonna fill that up to there. So I didn't compact it down or anything. Just gonna fill it all the way up, and you know, this doesn't necessarily need a lot of pinching. A little bit pinch there. If you're worried about the spikes on these plants, you know, they do have spines. You can always pick them up with sorry, I can't remember the name of them. Tongs. You can pick them up with tongs, but they do have a triangle shape, so you could always pick them up in between there. This one, I actually go a little higher. All right. So this one I'll fill up here. Might need to mix some more soil. I forgot to turn the lights on. Bear with me 1 second. So I'm in Hawaii and the sun is kind of going down a little bit, and I forgot to turn on the stage lights. So give me one second. I'm going to turn those on so it doesn't get dark in a few minutes. Sorry about that. Sorry if I lost you. If you're watching it back, you get a, hopefully you didn't fast forward through that. I was figuring it, I looked up and I saw the lights weren't on, and I knew that was going to have to be done at some point, and I don't have a partner today. So everybody that's still hanging on, thanks for still hanging out. Okay, so I'm going to mix this in here. This one's a little more flimsy, so I'm just going to pinch this around like that. And I just lightly covered the bottom, and I'm going to try to let it root from there. So the second one, I'm probably going to need some more soil, but I'll use up what I got. Use up what I got for now. Hope everybody's Tuesday's going okay, the beginning of the week, depending on where you're watching from. If you're outside the US, let me know where you're coming from, and I'll try to, you know, a lot of the advice and things I give is going to be based on different places in the US, but if I got other people watching and you're from somewhere else, and I'll do my best to try to navigate different advice for the plants in your area. Obviously, different areas that you live in, the temperatures are different, and that goes for inside and outside. And so like just a little bit different depending on the area you live in the world, on the care of the plants and where they go. So let me put this here. Yeah, I'm definitely going to need some more soil, so I'll mix up another batch here. I usually don't mix too much more than I think I'm going to need, because I do, the other plants I'm going to plant are going to be a little different, so then I don't want to use the same exact mix. And I'm not super cool where I've got like a whole bunch of bins with different mixes ready to go. Shoot, that's just a little too big. Maybe this one. Here, this is not working. Okay, it's gonna go like that for now. Okay, I'll mix up another batch. So potting soil, I just got to get to there. All right, 2 scoops of this. Ooh, this one's got a big old cinder in it. All right, that. Extra perlite. And sand. Holy smokes. If you are just logging in and wondering where Crystal is at, she's obviously not here. She's in Europe. She did a cool trip with her friends, and they are currently in Scotland. So the plant chores are all left to me, doing my best here to hold down the fort. All right, good mix. Do the soil test. It's nice and very, very, very porous. It's good. You could also mix in like pea gravel or turface, even different things. But for this one, for me, I'm just going to use sand, perlite, my regular mix. I swear, I keep putting that pink cup somewhere, and I don't know where it's at. I'm done losing my mind. Okay. And as I'm cruising along, if you have any questions, I'll do my best to read back over to the comments. But I usually get distracted and then forget, and then I'm like, oh, sorry guys. So I'll do my best to grab all the comments. Okay, just gonna fill this up to the ridge, and then this one's, because this one's pretty tall, hopefully this is a tall plant and the mix is really loose. It makes for a real loose, what do you call it? The plant's loose. All right, so the way to fix that is just gonna turn this and like compact at the backside of this. I've never used this rake ever. The backside of this, and just pinch the soil around this. And I'm going to make sure it's level. I'm just going to go around. So if you didn't notice, I'll just kind of like spin. I do this with most of the plants I do. Anytime I'm doing this kind of work, spin it around. All right. Okay, so a little more. Just going to fill this up a little more. And then the next step for these is you need to water them through, and then I'm going to water about once a week or so, and they're going to be placed in like a bright shade. If you're inside and you do this, then they're going to need to be, if it's super cold right now and you can't get to a bright indirect area near a window, not where the sun is bearing in, but right near it, then I would say an area, if you have grow lights, that would work. They won't need too much sun to get going. Once they root and they start growing, then it's going to need a little more light exposure. But until then, we're just trying to force all of its energy to kind of come down here. All right, so I will water those in a little while. So I got three of these. These are all reverted off of this guy, and I'll continue cutting because I want this to just be like a giant coral, right? And I'll just keep sizing that up, making that, and then, you know, for the future, I've got a couple more. Gonna let these callus over, and yeah, so I'll move on to the next thing. I guess I could have made more of this. All right, I was just checking over here. Comments. I did have a. Never seen this. This is a sad, pitiful wishbone cactus. That it has some air roots, but so this is what not to do with cactus. So we had this was one of my own that I just put in, and I had it for a long time. I had put it in a hanging basket, but it was a ceramic pot, and the pot didn't have a hole in the bottom. So what I would try to do is I'll try to calculate how much water needs to go in there without overwatering the thing. And yeah, made some mistakes. So I cut some of it back. The rest of it's fine, but there was some that probably should have saved it. So if you ever have a succulent or cactus and it looks like it's melting, right? This is like on its way to doing that, but it's still good enough to be propagated. But if it looks like it's melting and it's like clear, translucent, it's too much water. So what happened is we got some sideways rain, I don't know, a couple months ago, and I think it was a lot of rain, like a lot. This thing's underneath the lanai, but the rain came sideways and it just like filled it up. And then obviously it doesn't have a hole in it, nowhere to go. It's like way out of the way. I don't really go over there very often. And so it just sat in water for a while and got super unhappy. So tip number one, any succulents, cactus, no matter what, get a pot with a hole in it or drill some holes in it. I do want to make a video that'll show that. It's not too hard to do. You just have to have a drill, a cordless drill, a powered drill, and a diamond blade that you use for tile. They sell them at the hardware store, and then you just use that, and you can drill some holes in the pots. So I'm going to need to do that one, and I have some other ones that you know, had I been the one watering it, I probably would have been okay because I've got it like down to a science. But I didn't make sense of. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Super long day. Sorry, guys. I didn't. If anybody knows the word I'm saying, feel free to go in there. I'm just going to move on. I didn't think that was going to happen, and it did. Whatever that word is. This is what happens when you're getting maybe a little older. I don't like to claim that, but I forgot the word. I can like name all these plants, but I can't remember this one word that I'm trying to think of. All right, so I've got this super long guy. I'm going to cut it up, and then I'm going to put sections into 4-inch pots, and we're going to root it and then get it to regrow. I think it will. It's got some air root areas. That's what these are, that it already had. Like it was trying to get water at one point. But the other thing too, if you're handling these, just know you can't really see. I'm sorry, but right in here, there's like little spines. So it is a cactus. So we want to be sure that we are being careful of the spines, or you are. And then the sections, going to do like 3-inch-ish sections. So it's, I guess, I don't know, whether 1, 2 of these guys. So I'm going to just cut this up in a series like this. So it grew from the pot out this way. So I know that this is the bottom. And I'm going to take these and I'm going to place them all the same way. And I'm going to count 2 more. And then I'm going to count 2 more. And I'm just going to keep doing that until I get a whole bunch of them. And if you've got some failures at home, you made some mistakes with your plants, don't be afraid to cut them up. I mean, at the end of the day, what's the worst that's going to happen? They already don't look good. So I like to experiment a lot. I'm like, oh, I screwed that up. Let's just see what we can make of it, and make, you can make a whole bunch of babies. So this will be the top cutting. I'm going to leave this one this long, but the top cutting more than likely 100% will root real easily. Top cuttings are always the easiest. All right, so I've made a whole bunch of cuttings, and then I think what I'm going to actually do, yeah, I'm going to do 4-inch. 4-inch pots. Let me see how many I need. I'm going to put 4 in each. So I didn't do the math. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, looks like I can only do 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'll do 1 with 4 and 2 with 3, and I put them all back in the same way that they were cut. So I'm trying to put everything in exactly the way I found it, or the way I cut it, sorry. All right, so these are all mid cutting, so I'll pull them back out, and obviously now I got to make more soil. But for these ones, I'm not going to add as much of sand or perlite. Actually, no sand. I'm just going to add a little more perlite, and that's it. So I need 1, 2, 3. So what I did, I tried to make these 2 exactly what I have. I'm making 3 of these, 3. So I just counted 3 of that. I'm going to add some perlite. Nice chunky perlite in there like that. And then mix this up good. This is nice and porous. I should have brought one over here, what these plants look like. I can't bring the mother plant over here, but I could bring some other ones, some other cuttings that we had done previously. All right, so for this one, I'm going to fill this up loosely, super simple. And then keep these the same way I had them. Just going to tuck them in all the way down, and I'm just going to put them in like a triangle, because these will grow out. Bing, bing, bing. Okay, boom, there's one. So I'm taking my mistake, and I'm going to try to make it into some babies. So you can either, oh, that's a little too much. Perlite was all like in one spot. You can either, give these to your friends, or you can, propagate them and sell them. All right, so 1, 2, 3. So that one's a little crispy. Yeah, we'll see what happens. This one's got at least 2 good ones. But what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You needed to cut it off anyways. I like to, like I said, experiment. Like, hey, let's see what I can make. And then, sometimes that can become a problem. But it's in the plant world, it's not hoarding, it's collecting, right? We're collecting. All right, so this one has 4. That's the top cutting. 2, 3. I wonder if I did that one right. All right. 4. Okay, so with these 2, same thing, going to water thoroughly. The water is going to come out the bottom. After that, it's going to be out once a week watering, and they can be in the bright shade, bright indirect light inside. Depending on what your house has, you could have like a section that's mostly shady covered, that you can do these on a little propagation shelf and see what you get. Inside though, you're going to need a little more bright light to make them to grow. All right, so there's second cactus that I had. Forgot my watch today. What time do we got here? All right, 5:37. So I'm going to set this stuff aside, and these are like super long overdue, so I really got to do them, and I'll just do them with you for a little bit, and then we'll go from there. So These are areca seedlings. So an areca palm can grow, it's a tropical palm. It can grow indoors. Needs to have bright indirect light, decent conditions, little bit of decent humidity. Otherwise, inside you will have to start treating for pests. These don't look as good as they did. Basically, I have an areca palm that we let go to seed, and then we capture all the seedlings, and that's what this is. And then from there, we're going to split them up and put them in little 4-inch pots, and then grow them into nice big areca palms. It usually takes a little while. Like a 6-inch areca palm usually goes for here where we're at. They usually go. It's a clump, usually a clump of like 4 or 5 of these, 6, and once they get bigger, and those are like $40, and then they go up from there. 20, 40. The bigger palms are a little more. So it's a lot of people grow them here on the island, and they might not grow anything else, but they're growing these all day, collecting seedlings. And I want to have some more. So I had these, I dug them up, and now I need to split them. All right, so there was a couple different plots that I dug out of. And so what I want to do, I want to keep a lot of this intact. I don't want to separate individually. We want to keep them in groups. But I do not want to put all these in one. So what I'll usually do is, I'll set the plant on its side, and then you're just going to want to kind of break it like that. Let it kind of naturally fall apart. Okay, and then we get a nice little clump like that. I'm going to take away some of these. Looks like so that'll be one clump there. We'll have to piece that guy back in. Pretend like he's standing up still. Okay, the neighbor's saying hi. The reason I like to keep them together for the most part is when they get like this on a single, they just tend to dry out pretty quick, and then they're just kind of difficult to propagate. So I think I'm just gonna leave these ones in the center here. Oh, looks like I'm getting 2 clumps. All right, so here's one clump. Here's another one. All right, I'm just clean these up a little bit. So that's 3. These ones are probably not going to work. All right, so some of these, they kind of dried out, so I'll pull these off. Basically dug these up, and I was supposed to do this like 3 weeks ago and then didn't. So at least I'm doing it now. I'll clean these up a little bit. And then this one looks like there should be 2. You can get 2 clumps out of here. And then we'll be on the waiting game. All right, so this one, same thing. I'm gonna just kind of like hold it. I'm holding it firm on each side, pulling it apart. So I'm not trying to tear the roots. I'm letting them just come apart. You can see there in the center. Now you got 2. So you can do this with the bamboo palm. You can do similar plantings. Rhapis palms, you've got those. Areca, and then parlor palm. Parlor palm's a real popular one. So, all right. So let me clean this up a little bit. This is all just like regular dirt, and I'm not opposed to regular dirt, but I don't want to use that as my growing medium for these potted plants. So I'm gonna ditch this back here to go back into the outside garden. Ooh. Hey, all right. That dang, this pot of these plants have been sitting up here for, like I said, 3 weeks, just making a mess. Ooh, naughty. All right, so yeah, these are outside plants. I don't know if you can see what this is. Any guesses? Trying to get my hand out of the way. It's sticky. And it's a nemesis to all things plants. So I don't know if you have any guesses. It looks obviously it's missing its shell. No home. This is a houseless snail. It's a slug. But I'll send Patrick's cousin back to where he's supposed to go from. Shoot, I better inspect these before I put them with the rest of these plants. These came from, like I said, just an outplanting of areca palms that we got. So out in the landscape, regular plants. Okay, I don't see any others. I'll clean these up before I get them all done. These will look all nice and clean. Get rid of all the brown and the dead stuff. All right, so the mix for these, I'm just going to use, I'll use this leftover mix that I had from the others, but I'm not going to add any more perlite. It's just going to be a basic potting mix. So like if you're doing tropical plants, things like that, you can use any sort of potting mix would be okay. If you're really getting into it, then, you know, not any old potting mix will do. Try to do organic. If it has added fertilizers, try to make sure they're organic, not synthetic. Kind of adds to the salts, and that's just my advice, has been my experience. Not that you can't use the other stuff, but the natural soils are better. We do sell a base mix online, and you can get it in the mainland, and also, you know, if you're local to Hawaii, we've got it here too. Yeah, but otherwise, you know, Fox Farm is a good brand that's known, that the really good brand, and they got good soil, good regular soil. Other than that, maybe there's some other local stuff near you that has a similar qualities. So we're looking for organic, local compost type, ideally, so that you're getting something that's made close by. So this has jungle compost in it. This is made here, but it's solid, good natural fertilizers, makes plants grow quick. All right, enough about the soil, but the soil is super important. So if you're trying to plant these and you're like, oh, I'm just going to go in the backyard and I'm going to dig up some dirt, I would say don't do that. You're going to have to put in some time, you know, save up a few bucks and buy a bag of potting soil, or mix your own. There's many different ways we show on the show all the time on different things. All right, so regular soil, we're putting these in 4-inch pots. So I'm going to try to keep them all the same color. We're going to color match these guys. That's exciting. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish. Okay, so with these, you're going to want to, so they got roots, so you're going to want to put them in first. And if you can tell, these are pretty snug already. So, well, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to let them get rooted and good in here for a month, and then I'll probably upsize them. Okay, so can't just put this in the bottom. Want to have a little bit of soil first, and then we want this to sit there. So the tops of the root balls, there's a little ridge in the pots, and the tops of the root balls should be set there. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make sure all the roots from the plants are tucked down below the soil, and then I'm going to grab my pink cup that I always lose, and just going to spin this guy around. Little, kind of make sure it stays centered, spin it around. Okay, I'm going to fill to the top, use a tool of some sort, and then pack around. Oh, it's a beautiful day. I don't know, I guess you probably, not sure if you can see, we've got a slight drizzle back behind me. All right, so these ones with the roots, we really want to eliminate the air pockets, make sure we get a good amount of soil around the palm. All right, and then I'll just keep doing that for the next few. So going to do the same thing. little bit of soil in there. Whoop. Again, don't want to put too much because we want this top of the root ball to be, there's a line here you can see on the inside, and we want that to be right there, so that there's room for the plant to hold water. That's what essentially what this ridge here is for, so that the soil should not be above that, and then that way when you water it, you're not getting dirt all over the place. So I'm going to spin it around, backside. Just got 3 more to go. And then like I'm going to pot them all, and then I'll clean them up a little bit because they're like, these are not the nicest looking palms that I've outplanted, but it's my neglect, my bad. All right, you could do another one. So this one's really loose. So on this one, if you've got them like this, instead of just filling it up a little bit and then putting it in, anytime you got it loose, like, you know, if it's one plant or a couple plants and you can see through the roots, put that in the pot. And then what you want to do is hold that in the center, and then just kind of let the soil work its way around. So it's going to fill in all those empty spots that we had. All right, so do this, come around here, spin. This one's going to need a lot more compacting than the other ones because there wasn't a soil ball around the root already. Do that. If you've ever been to Florida, they got these plants. These are like the screening palms that everybody uses in between their houses. Okay, but you can also use them indoors and stuff like that. All right, there's 3, 2 more. All right, this one's got an old sticker. Let's take this off. Oh man, it's a beautiful day. I hope it was nice where you're at. I know we're getting into spring, and spring brings some different weather depending on where you're at. So hope you're enjoying that, or maybe not. I guess I haven't checked the weather in other places for a little bit. So I hope the weather is nice where you're at. Okay, this one's still, well, we're gonna roll with it. Oh. Okay, so if this happens with these kind of palms, I'm not even going to try. Other plants, I'd be like, oh no, we're gonna get that little nub to root again. It's just gonna require too much care. So not to say that you can't, but it's gonna require more time than I'm willing to give to these plants. All right, so do this. This one had like a decent root ball, so I'm kind of breaking it up as I'm hitting this in there. They're pretty resilient plants, so you know, if they got root balls and roots down there, you don't be afraid to do this kind of stuff. It's not a super tender plant. It's not a calathea or anything like that. All right, and then I'm going to do one more. All right. This one can go all the way down. So, all right, yeah, so we're usually go about an hour. It's my dinner time, so we're closing in there. I'm gonna finish this up. I'm gonna clean up these plants, and then I gotta water them all, and then we're done for today. Did a decent amount of plant chores. Got this guy, got the cuttings, the ones that were, you know, the reverts, got them all cleaned up and taken, cut off of there, and then made some cuttings. So maybe those will revert too. I'm not sure, but if nothing else, we'll get some good euphorbia cactus that we can sell or give to some friends. And then we got, you know, I did make something out of these poor guys. So take a couple months, and then they should green up and then start. Basically, these will. Oh, kind of redo that one. These spots will never regrow, but it'll grow a new one from the bottom. It's going to come out the side. So eventually, this one will, the top cutting will, but the rest of these, this will eventually die back, and you're going to get a new growth at the top. This part's going to die back, and there's going to be a new. It's going to root below, and it's going to grow above it. This is what I get for fussing around, going backwards, talking about different stuff. Now I messed up one of my cuttings. Now I gotta hope it's okay. All right, we finished this one up. So yeah, then the last one we did today was these areca seedlings. So these seedlings will need water right away, and then it's going to be about three times a week, depending on where you're at. 2 to 3 times a week. You want to keep them moist, but not too oversaturated. And then bright shade, or if you've got a grow light, they could be under a grow light inside. So I'm just going to clean these up a little bit. So I'm just using pruners, but these are not my sharpest tools in the shed here. They are not so good. So good thing this is far away and you can't see the poor cuts that I'm doing. But I'm just pulling out these dead pieces because I don't like the way it looks. I mean, you don't have to do this. You could just leave them there, start watering, and then just let this thing start rooting, and then it'll grow new ones and outgrow all this stuff anyways. Okay, one more. Oh, you can see the brown up in there. Up in here. Get that out of there. This guy. And this one. Okay, so these are cleaned up a little better than they were. Still not great, but all of these this is like the beginnings. They're just super fragile. And I dug these up like 2 weeks ago, and left them. I might have watered them once. So I didn't do my part to make these look real nice when it came time. Oh man, I missed a whole bunch on this one. Maybe I didn't do this one. Yeah. All right. Maybe I did. Okay. All right. So let's see. 555. Last part's going to be just to water all this stuff. And then on these ones, so what I like to do is I'm going to top dress them, make them look nice. I'm going to use a little bit of cocoa mulch for these ones. This is going to help hold the moisture in the top and dress them up. This is cocoa mulch, so it's like cocoa coir is like a ground up, real fine medium, and this is the chunks. The chunks kind of look like bark, but they're not. It's coconut. You could also use bark if you wanted to dress them up and hold the moisture in. Do that, and you don't have to do this. I just like doing it because it makes them look nicer, and it does hold the moisture in, so then I don't have to water as much. And but if you're doing this for yourself, you could probably do this. If you're trying to grow, thousands of these, then I don't think you're doing this. Okay, one more. Okay, so those are ready to be watered. And then on these cactus ones, I like to give them a little more. Top dress these. And then when they get to their, all these will be planted out into something else. Possibly these euphorbias, they actually might not be. We might get them to root, grow, and then these will be for sale. These got all the rest of this smaller stuff over here. This is going to have to be planted up. So if anybody has any questions, I haven't been doing a good job over here. Sorry. I usually have Crystal with me. So if you watch us all the time and you're used to having both of us, she's not here. She won't be here next week either. So I'll do my best. But she's on a happened. That's why I brought two, because I didn't charge these. Sorry. You guys got the mime version. Oh, that was my impression of a mime. Thank you, Renee. Hi. We're just finishing up. You can hear me now? I'll double check. Yeah, I guess we can. You can hear. I can hear it from them watching inside. Let me grab the water now. I was just going to water these and then finish up. And I think if nobody heard what I was saying, it probably doesn't matter. Hold on one sec. Oh, it might be a few more seconds. I forgot to get this ready. You can see me over here. Hold on. We should have pulled off the camera and could have done a panoramic shot for everybody. All right, I just put a little bit of water in this, and I'll make a muddy mess, and then I'm going to be done. Okay, got water. We're going to make a mess. Maybe not the best idea. Let me move this. Okay, so anytime you're watering plants, you just want to give it enough water till it goes down and through. So as soon as it comes out the bottom, that's it. And I got to be careful. Hold on real quick. Let me build a little dam here. I haven't found a better way. I could have put a tray under these or something. But I'm putting this here because I don't know if you can see down there, but that's one of my carnivorous plant bogs, and they cannot have regular water. Gosh, I could have just put these out in the rain, and they would have liked that better than this, but that's all right. All right. I like watering plants. There you go. This is relaxing for me. Thanks, Renee. All right, I'm going to finish up here, everybody. 100% can hear me. All right, there's that one. So remember on the palms, like if you got seedling palms, when you're first getting them going, it's going to be 2 or 3 times a week that they're going to need water. If it seems like they're browning in the middles, then that's too much water. You need to pull it back. As you can see on these ones, browning at the tips, that's because I didn't water them. Shame on me. I let them sit for a while, but that means not enough water. So generally, most problems that you have come from water, overwatering or underwatering, and I guess our neighbor is back out again. And you can see on the leaves. So outside browning generally is from underwatering, and then if it's in the inside, it's from overwatering. And I didn't think this through very good. All right, let me move these over here. Pull these over. We just got a few more to water. These cactus, they're going to need a lot less water than these, because we added sand and perlite to these, so they're a lot more porous. So it's just a little bit, and it probably should come through. See that? So that by changing the mix in the soil, it allows you to not make a lot of mistakes, because now the water is going to flow through anyways. You can't. It's going to be much harder to overwater. See how good I did on all these. Haha. And these ones going to be like once a week watering. And once they're established, then it's like once a month, or depending if it's outside, then it might be almost never, depending on where you're at. If you're in hot and sunny Arizona, then you got to water your cactus outside in the summer. Oh, this mix wasn't as porous as the other one. This is the first mix that I made. I think it had more sand in it. This is exciting, right? I don't know. I usually don't show watering, and then but then I'm like, oh, maybe I should probably show like, hey, this is. And I usually don't do it like this. Like I don't hold it up and stare at it, but it's kind of fun to experiment and see what happens here. So yeah, the euphorbias, I did a little more. Oh, there we go. Did a little more sand in them. As long as your pot has drainage holes in it, whatever water it doesn't need, it's going to go out the bottom. There we go. All right. Thanks, David, for reminding Renee that it was Tuesday and she needed to watch the live. Good looking out. It's just me. I'm going to finish up here. I'm just trying to. Maybe next time I'll have a tray. You know, originally we're like, hey, we need lights. We got lights now, so maybe we can get a tray. So I'm going to put these where they all need to go. For here, it's just going to be bright shade. If it's inside your house, then you're going to want to put them in bright indirect light. Or it could be, if it's a real dark space, then you might need a grow light in an area that they're under. And yeah, I made a muddy mess. So I'm going to put these back, and I think that's going to be it. Yep. Yeah, I'm out of town. I'm in town. Crystal is out of town. This thing's still working? All right, I'll be sure to charge both of these before the next one. While Crystal's gone, I may or may not go live or do something else. She usually does a lot of the editing, and I don't want her, you know, she's taking a nice break, so I want to let her have that break, and I'll try to hold the fort down with the YouTube and our channel, and keep things coming for you guys. So I'll do what I can. But if nothing else, I will 100% be back on next Tuesday, 5 o'clock Hawaii Standard Time, 7 o'clock Pacific, and usually go for about an hour. Appreciate you watching. I'm David, and this is the Plant Bar, and I'll see you next time. If you got some spare time, feel free to watch back through our other lives or some other videos that we do. We got a lot of fun stuff, and if you haven't subscribed, feel free to do that too. Have a good night. Thank you. And I got to walk around and press the stop button. Thank you, Renee. Good night. Okay, I'm in the background. Good night.